Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bad Reading Podcast. I am your co-host, Nick, and joining me is my other co-host, Atlas Novak.
Hi, that's me. I'm Atlas Novak. I'm a person.
Yes, he is. He's a
Place, thing, noun.
Yes, he is. All the things. In case you want to, in case you need a good English course reminder, that is all those things. And we have a very special guest today. We have a very special episode of the podcast because it's actually a movie that I've seen quite a few times. With my dad. It's a special bonding movie, but I assure you this is not my dad. This is a different person. I met this guy in the circuit of the LA comedy scene. He books tons of shows every week, every month, and he just started doing this like a year ago, and I think he's hilarious. Please welcome everybody, Chris Kidder.
Howdy.
Something about that with like the Dickensian street urchin hat. Hi there.
You ready to hear some comedy?
Oh my god.
Yesterday I was at this bus stop. I was rooting through the trash and I saw this beautiful honey walk by. And I said, would you like some flowers?
Like that hat looks like something a raccoon would wear if like it would wear people clothes.
It's my Peaky Blinders. Man.
Them Peaky Blinders.
The fucking Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
That show's great.
Yeah, I love it, man.
It's a good one.
Violent.
Yeah.
Well, with no Peaky Blinders aside, so Chris, you are in a special group of comics around the scene here in LA called the Frankenfucks.
Yes, sir.
And what is that exactly?
We're just a group of middle-aged men and women who've come together, just working the comedy scene together. So we're going out there, hitting the pavement individually, but then coming together, trading information, trying to work together, going out supporting each other's shows, trying to produce shows together. In fact, I'm going to be producing a show in February that's going to have the whole Frankenfuck group together. And we're trying to hit the comedy scene really hard.
Awesome.
This episode should come out before then. So February 29th, right?
That is the goal on the leap year. Yep, yeah. That's a Saturday.
February 29th. It will put like the actual info in the doobly-doo with the stuff.
I love the doobly-doo.
The doobly-doo.
Is that a Blue's Clues thing?
No, it's from there's this YouTuber I like called Mother's Basement, and he talks about anime, but he's like, if you want to find out more about this show, the link is in the doobly-doo. It's a fun word.
Hit the soobly-doo, press the lickly blue, and link in the dig doobly blue.
That sounds more Rick and Morty-ish.
Yes.
A little bit.
I wasn't trying to do it, but no, that's like, like the YouTubers, they're like, come and subscribe, and then they end their video, or whatever.
The whole thing of the Frankenfucks almost sounds just like a union.
A comedy union, yeah. Well, I mean, we're joking, but that's part of the game. Is like, when if any of you out there like are up and coming comics, there's a thing here where you have to, like, if you're gonna get booked for a professional room like the Comedy Store, the Hollywood Improv, Laugh Factory, you name it, they're all bringer shows, and sometimes you have to fill 10 seats, sometimes 20, especially when you're starting out, and sometimes you're just limited to your friend group or your family group out here. And what the Frankenfucks are is, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just a collection of comedians who just they keep track of everybody's shows. They see who can go to what, and they pay it and follow through. And is that do I have it right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, several of them have their own podcast. We have one who's dropping their YouTube channel. They've been recording it for a while. That's rolling out in January. We're all helping her produce that show and helping her build that content and just working with each other in any way creatively. But with the sole basis of it being comedy related.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare to see comedians work together on a project, because whenever people usually ask for comedians to come to a show, they're always like, I don't know, man, I got like a show I'm working on, or it's like, I don't want to hear the same material I've been hearing at Fourth Wall for the past 5 days.
Yeah.
Like I've heard.
Shout out to Joe Menente.
Call back to last episode. But no, Atlas, you have the advantage because your family's out here.
Yeah, that's true. Except I literally can't be like, Mom, you want to come to my show again? And she's like, I came to your show last month. and you joked about me on stage to my face, and I was like, yeah, about that. I'll do it about Dad this time. Okay, I'll come because my parents are divorced. So
yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's like you have to explain to them. It's like, listen, it's just for the bit. Like I don't.
No,
really...
I know it is, but it's very hard to like. I try and stagger it so I'm not constantly pressuring them to come to shows all the time. Like I try and do round robin with like her and then my dad and his ilk and like my sister and her group of friends and that kind of thing. So it's not all like calling upon, calling all angels.
Right. So Chris, I want to ask you. So we brought you here today on this podcast because you are a huge fan of the Goonies. Is
Absolutely.
that right? And why is that? And feel free to just.
What do you mean? Why is he a fan of the Goonies? It's the Goonies.
Right. Oh, okay.
It's the Goonies. So when that movie came out, it was mid '80s. I was six years old when that movie came out, and I was subjected to it at a very early age. And what I latched onto was the camaraderie and the friendships that these guys have, but then they're encountering this one big goal. But along the way, they each have to go through these little tasks for them to get to the goal, right?
Yeah.
To One-Eye Willie's, treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like their ultimate goal is to save their lives, to save the Goondocks, to not have their houses bulldozed down. And it's just this really wonderful story played out. And the fact that all these characters, they're all completely different and the same. It's hard to explain, but it's just a beautiful film. And I think people watch and go, oh, yeah, it's funny. And then they turn it off without putting any thought into it. But,
Right.
Go back and watch it and actually put some thought into it. Like it's a genius movie in my opinion.
Yeah, like Stranger Things out today, like is based heavily on the Goonies.
Yep.
Like it's well a lot. Well, I mean, Stranger Things is like it's like a fusion of like Silent Hill, the Goonies. Oh gosh, what was it? Another thing that any Spielberg movie like around that time, like like anything would like that, but like. The Goonies, I think, was just so unique because it was grounded somewhat in reality. It wasn't like super like, oh, okay, this is fantasy. Like, but it balanced it really well, where like each character had to like solve the different part of the puzzle that they had to go through, and eventually, like they all kind of grew up a little bit. And this was like before the age of the internet, so like they had zip lines, they had like. They had a one kid who was like a genius. Like he would make like these weird inventions. Again, I'm sorry, I
Data.
Data, yeah, he was one of the guys that did it, and but everybody remembers Truffle Shuffle, and
that's what I remember from it.
That's what. Good job.
I mean, you guys are putting so much thought into this. Like, this was your favorite movie growing up, right? My favorite movie growing up was Ace Ventura, and I put little to no thought into why I like that movie. It was just, he makes funny faces and says funny things. By the way, I went back and rewatched that movie as an adult. It does not age well. It is homophobic as fuck because of the whole thing with, spoiler alert, Ray Finkel is trans, and everybody is disgusted by that fact.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, but just that scene where it's him solving the murder casually. It's like, this is double pane soundproof glass,
Yeah.
Exactly. Get to the point, Ventura.
It's like one of those movies. I just recently with Jim Carrey, I saw Dumb and Dumber recently.
The first one?
Yes, the first one. We don't talk about the second one.
There's Dumb and Dumber and Dumb and Dumber 2 TO.
Mm-hmm. There's Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. It was like a prequel or something.
Oh, okay.
When they were younger, yeah.
No, the first one, like I watched that recently, and like I thought to myself, like, holy crap, this movie did not age well. Like it's not a well-made movie. Like it's almost like they just recorded Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey just hanging out, and then Jim would think of something funny to do in that sketch, and like it's to me it's one of the best 90s movies ever made. But like we're almost in 2020. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
I think by the time they hear this, it'll be the New Year. So
Yeah.
I
want this to be famously late.
I hope that you kept going to the gym after that first week.
Yes.
You're better than that.
Don't get
Person
discouraged.
watching.
Persevere. Lift the weights. Wait your turn for the dude that is like his arm is the size of your body. Wait your turn. You will be him one day. Or her. Okay, moving on to the Goonies. We picked a very special fan fiction for you. And it's one of my favorites. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. He's either going to love this or Chris is going to hate this.
The title alone makes me laugh.
Okay, so this is written by Disney Fangirl 774 on mfanfiction.net.
Disney Fangirl?
Yeah, Disney Fangirl
774
on fanfiction.net. As always, we will have the link to the story in the show notes, so you can go check it out for yourself if you like. / did you have credit? So
Yes. So now, this is To Chunk with Love by Disney Fangirl 774. As a reminder, Chunk's real name is Lawrence. Chunk was making Valentine's Day cards for each of his friends he'd rescued, and thanks to his newfound friend Sloth, because it was given. Not only did Chunk save friends his age, he saved Sloth from his cruel family, his 2 brothers and his mother. They were supposed to be a caring family, but sadly, from the looks of them, they weren't. I'm
Wait.
sorry.
I said the Fratellis.
Yeah.
His family, the
Yeah.
Fratellis,
Yeah.
those bastards, dude.
Yeah.
Wait, the whole thing about like saying that Chunk's real name is Lawrence, is that part of the story, or is it like a little preface before the story?
It's a little like, it's in bold. It's like, as a reminder, Chunk's real name is Lawrence. That's what the author put right here.
Okay, that would be like, imagine if like there was a narrator for a story, and it's like the city of Townsville. Hang on, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. The city of Townsville, you know.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's so weird how like the authors do that. Like, it's like, oh guys, by the way, Chunk's real name is Lawrence. So anyway, like, this is how the story starts.
I just thought it was part of the story for a second.
No, like I have to. No, I didn't tell anybody. It's
I
like,
thought she was gonna start calling him Larry or something because Lawrence is usually Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are we calling him Lawrence? I mean, this is Chunk.
I don't know. It's like I think it's just because like she wants his name to be Lawrence. Maybe like she or her, him or her. Disney Fangirl doesn't mean it's a girl. Sometimes so all the chicks on the internet are dudes. That's a rule I learned early. Okay.
Sad.
Yeah. In spite of himself, Sloth really liked Chunk, although Chunk was much younger than him, but was nice enough to see good in him. Sloth, in his new room, the room that was much more considerate than the last one on his former home, was also making Valentine's Day cards to his most recent trusted allies. This is going to be the best Valentine's Day I've ever had, he thought to himself out loud.
Considerate.
That's the adjective they went with for that room. Considerate.
Yes, they went with considerate.
So there's no change.
No, yeah, there's no change here, so we're already off on a bad start.
Yeah.
Since,
I mean, he loves Chunk, but unfortunately, Chunk is too young for him.
Mm-hmm.
Does he like love Chunk or like what?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Atlas.
I mean, it's called to Chunk.
Love is a very strange thing. It may start out like love, but then maybe it might turn to love.
I mean, when he says Sloth loves Chunk, I mean, is it love or is it love?
I mean, is he my partner or like my partner? Who knows?
He did give him his baby Ruth.
Right, of course.
Yes, they did.
Did that like single-handedly make that candy bar more appealing because of that movie?
Yeah, it's a good candy bar.
I don't like it very much.
It's real.
I'm not a fan of Baby Ruth whatsoever.
I mean, literally because of Caddyshack. That's what.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I honestly think, they had Sloth. They gave him 20 candy bars and just kind of what sounds good and just let him. I mean, that would have been fun to see, like behind the scene. Like he probably was like, the director's like, okay, let me see your, see Milky Way, right? No, go down.
Payday.
Yeah.
Twix.
Snickers. Yeah, I mean, just going out, baby Ruth, and he's that's it.
Then it's for millennials. They dub it over. It's like Xbox. There's nobody.
I think that would be funny if like you had like one of those like the dressing up montages, and they're like, no, but it's just him with the different candy bars. Milky Way, Baby Ruth.
Yeah, that'd be a good commercial. Like, it's like your competitors, Milky Way, Twix, Snickers, Payday.
Yeah.
Payday's gross though. Like,
Paydays are good, man.
Dude, how do you like Baby Ruth and Payday?
Oh God, Jesus! No, my favorite candy.
3,000 grand, or what was it? 1,000 grand?
100 grand.
100 grand.
I liked 100 grand.
I didn't.
It's not the best, but it's like medium to medium plus. I liked Almond Joy, which I know is unpopular.
Almond Joy.
Yeah.
Not
Not everyone likes the Coke. Fuck yes, Kit Kats.
I will kill a man for a Kit Kat. Like not for a Klondike bar, but for a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Twix.
I was a Twix.
Twix are
Is
good.
good.
Twix are good. They like. It's a Twix, Jerry. Like you have to be in the mood for it, Jerry.
What was the? You said what did you say? Almond Joy.
Almond Joy, the one with the coconut and the
yeah. What was the one that went with it?
Mounds.
Mounds. That's
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes
That was my mom's favorite. I always saw her with Almond Joys and Mounds, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, there was always like another one with it.
My dad likes Almond Joy because he likes coconut. My mom doesn't. She likes. I think it was. No, it's Nestle Crunch. And then for some reason, like the other thing that she would poach from our Halloween candy, just the white gummy bears.
Just the white gummy bears.
Just the white gummy bears. Nothing else. Just the white ones. I'm not sure what. What is the flavor of the white gummy bears, by the way?
I think it's like a pineapple-ish flavor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pina colada.
Yeah,
Like
pina
just random.
colada.
I could
yeah,
see
it's
that.
a coconut or pineapple.
Yeah, but it was kind of fun because you're like your kid, you're like your mom, you're 6 or whatever.
Well, let's see if Chunk gives Sloth and Almond Joy in this little story here.
Yeah.
Let's see. That'd be a good candy to have. Like, hey, this is gonna be the best Valentine's Day I've ever had, he thought to himself out loud in his cheerful, motivational voice. And all thanks to Chunk. Okay, why did you say motivational voice? That bothered me. He thought to himself out loud in his cheerful, motivational voice.
This is Sloth? Like he has a motivational voice?
No, I think this is Chunk. This is Chunk talking right now. And it's cheerful, motivational voice. It's like, I've listened to motivational voices before. Like they're usually guys that like that. You know, they're athletic. They're like, it takes the pain away. Like you gotta go further. Like if you feel pain, like you gotta step forward. When it's hard times, like that's not what Chunk sounds
Your
like.
motivational voice sounds like Dave Chappelle if he has to shit. Like,
Where'd you get that? That sounds nothing like Dave Chappelle. Does it?
if he has to shit, yes.
That's the shit.
I mean, I got a shit.
I don't know. That's like him when he's like 30. Okay. Once the Valentine's cards were made, Chunk rushed down the stairs and descended to the kitchen with his Valentine card in one hand. Lawrence, what's the rush? His mother asked him. I'm on my way to the store to get a present for Sloth. Chunk. Now Chunk is Cartman.
Now you're say now you're Cartman.
I wanted to give him a Cartman voice.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I can do Cartman's voice. I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm on my way to the store to get a present for Sloth.
Chunk replied truthfully.
But you didn't want to eat lunch first.
She persisted.
I suppose.
He relented resignedly as he sat on the table. His father handed him a plate full of food for lunch. They just
don't say what kind of food it is. It's just food.
It's just food. They just don't say food. His father handed him a plate full of food for lunch. Oh, God.
I just imagine like if it was a cartoon, someone just like drew just like a half circle and just wrote food on it. I'll figure it out later. Whatever.
It's just a
food.
Now see
cardboard.
See now that this woman's writing a fictional piece, she should have went in detail about the food. I mean, this dude's all about his food.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all about his food.
You're definitely gonna feel like this fan fiction was really rushed because it was.
Yeah.
But like it's super vague, and that's why I love it because it has this Chunks going on a date with Sloth, and they don't give you any information besides that.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
This is what happens with fanfics like this, where like, it usually involves if it's someone's like masturbatory practice, they want to get right to the thing, so they skip over all of the the world building and the background and the character building, just so they can get to the thing that makes them come. Yep. So,
gee, that was a visual. Okay.
Now you know where I get my porn from. So enjoy that. Or do I?
That's a mystery for another time. Let's see. Yeah, but his father handed him a plate full of food for lunch. They're just at that age, dear, Chunk's father told her as he watched his son eat. Chunk's father can tell that his son was getting fired up for Valentine's Day, mostly for his buddy. So are you pumped up for Valentine's Day, son? Yeah, Dad, Chunk said as he ate. Or he...
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. As soon as Chunk finished eating his lunch, he said on his way out the door,
"Can we make it chicken pot pie? I'm sorry."
Yeah, sure. It's chicken pot pie.
Yeah. His father handed him a plate full of chicken pot pie for lunch. We're just at that age, dear, Chunk's father told her as he watched his son eat chicken pot pie. Chunk's father can tell that his son was getting fired up for Valentine's Day. I already read this. Yeah. As soon as Chunk finished eating his chicken pot pie, he said on his way out the door,
"I'll see you later, Dad."
"No, kitty, that's my pot pie." Is that why you had it be pot pie?
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Okay.
You done good.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Atlas, do you want to take this next paragraph
sure.
right here?
Give me. Let's see.
It's here.
Okay. All right. See you later. In the store, Chunk was at the candy aisle looking for a candy bar. Babe Ruth for us, for both his kindred spirit for himself, and because this time Sloth needed a full bar more than Chunk did. Unexpectedly, Chunk's companions arrived at the store. "Hey guys, what's up?" he inquired nervously. "Nothing, Chunk." You guys okay? Who did I break? I literally can't tell whose mouth it came from.
It's mine.
It's from his.
It's mine.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm watching you do Cartman. It's so funny.
"Nothing, Chunk," Brand the jock replied. "We're just shopping, that's all." All right. "Well, what a coincidence," Chunk exclaimed, throwing up and down his arms in defeat as if caught by the cops. "Brand had just bought me chocolate," Andy, Brand's girlfriend, pointed out proudly. Okay. "Anything for my girl, Andy," Brand said, and leaned in to kiss her. God, this is like
it's so weirdly
painful.
written. It's so weird how it's written, isn't it? It's so broken how it's written, isn't it?
"What are you doing in this store?" "Oh, nothing, just shopping."
Just nothing. Really?
Give me a kiss. That's so weird.
And then
something about shopping just makes me horny whenever I see people I know in my social circle.
This is another one of my pet peeves, just in general, but it happens a lot in writing, where if two people are talking and you don't need to mention their name because they know that they're talking, but they mention the name anyway. So, example, Brand had just bought me chocolate. Good. Andy, Brand's girlfriend, pointed out proudly. Then Brand goes, "Anything for my girl, Andy." You're already talking. Yep. You don't need to say Andy. Yeah. This happens to like it drives me crazy in real life where like say Nick, you and I are talking and just like
we're doing that right now.
Yeah. "Hey, what's going on?" And you're like, "Oh, nothing, Atlas." You have my attention. You don't need the name in there.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like, doesn't that drive you nuts too? Or?
I totally get it, Atlas.
It's like that thing where it's like Atlas said to Nick,
"You know, I was thinking of doing a podcast."
And then Nick said, "Sure, that sounds like sure, that sounds great." Then Atlas said,
"All right, I'll see you at 10:30 tonight."
But then is that what you mean by that, or sorry, that was just an excuse to do
an
impression.
I hate how accurate his impression of me is.
I love doing it.
But yeah, that combined with when someone asks you for a favor, you agree to it, and then they try to explain themselves more.
Right.
"Hey, can I borrow this chair?" "Yeah, sure. It's just I need the chair for I don't care. Take the chair and leave."
Right. No, when people ask you, like, what are you using the chair for? It's like, I bought it. What do you want to know next? It's like, I know people like that, but yeah, I agree.
All right. Okay. For once, Chunk didn't make a comment. He thought he'd be better off keeping remarks to himself without getting them and himself in trouble.
It's so full of errors. Like when you read it, you look at it going, who wrote this?
Mikey, one of Bran's younger brothers, who had asthma, on the other hand, watched jealously as the two smooch.
That's Sean Astin right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to come over to my house and see Sloth? Chunk offered.
I'm just imagining a South
That
Park
is something he would have said.
Yeah.
I totally see that.
Oh, sure, Mikey said, shrugging his shoulders. All the Goonies shopped on until they had everything they needed. All right, here's the last part, Nick.
Okay. Yes.
Just at the top there.
Back at Chunk's place, Chunk called out to his soulmate.
Sloth, our friends are here.
I fucking can't. I can't.
Sloth is here and he's eating my pie.
No kids, my
Killer. Killer. I'm going to be on TV now.
Just when Sloth heard his name, he rapidly climbed down the stairs and shouted, "Hey, you guys!"
Yo, Sloth.
Some of Chunk's Yo, Sloth! Oh, that's not Chunk. Yo, Sloth! Some of Chunk's companions yelled. Hi, Sloths! Chunk's other friends called. Immediately, Sloth handed each of them a card. Chunk did the same. Cool! They beamed. We'll leave you two guys alone for a while, Brand said as he, his girlfriend, and his assembly departed. Happy Valentine's Day!
Happy Valentine's Day.
Chunk called as they left. Finally, when he and Sloth were alone together, they handed each other a homemade card, and Chunk gave one of his candy bars to his best chum in the whole world. Soon, they both gobbled up their candy bars. Sloth's card read, "To Chunk with love." It also contained a picture he drew of himself and Chunk.
Thanks, Sloth.
Said Chunk beamed. Chunk's card read,
"Roses are red, violets are blue. There's no better love than what I have for you."
"I love you, Chunk." Sloth marveled as he hoisted up his buddy and gave him a hug and kiss on the cheek.
"This is the best Valentine's Day ever now that I'm with you."
"I love you I love you too, Sloth," says Chunk. And I already messed that up. "And I agree, this is the best Valentine's Day ever." The end.
That's it. That's the story.
That's it.
I want to know who the writer is. Dude. Fangirl, Disney fangirl. I want to know who she is. I honestly I'm like lost for words. Like, what the fuck?
As a creative writing major who had to edit many people's papers / have mine edited, this makes me want to have an aneurysm. Like, I am wishing an aneurysm upon myself right now.
Oh, yeah. No, they've written, they're a very prolific writer. They've written 157 pages worth of fan fiction, not just of the Goonies, but she has 157 of them.
Wow.
That's that was
See, now that...
You okay over there?
I mean, I was talking at the beginning. The Goonies has like this big, this big goal, and it's filled with small little goals in between, and camaraderie and everything. This is absolutely opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
They also mention asthma for literally no reason. Mikey has asthma, and... No, that's it. It's just part of them.
Remember when they did that in the room? It's like, I have it. I definitely have breast cancer.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
Have you ever seen The Room? The movie? That famous, really bad movie?
Oh, hi, Mark.
By Tommy Wiseau.
Like,
I feel like I've seen that.
The Room is considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. But
yeah, actually, that's the one with James Franco, right? That he was
the disaster artist.
He was making that movie.
Yeah, the movie of the making of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I hear The Room, I always think of what's the one with Tim Roth? 4 Rooms or
Yeah,
Rooms
that was
or
4 Rooms.
4 Rooms.
I never saw
yeah.
4 Rooms.
Right. That was like one of those projects that like it was 4 directors, and I think Quentin was one of them.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino was one of them. But yeah, no, every time I hear The Room, I think of that one immediately for some reason.
Yeah. Was that a popular movie when it came out?
I loved it. I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. It was a very, very interesting movie.
Yeah. It was
So for me, like I enjoyed. It was a very stylized piece, and you could tell there was different directors because they're all different. But Tim Roth was brilliant in it. So
No, see, he goes up there, he goes, "Garçon, coffee!" Okay, so I wanted to talk about this fan fiction for a minute here. My theory is that it was written by a 5th grader or
whose parents are going through a divorce and they can't deal with any amount of conflict at all, so they're like, okay, everything works out perfectly for everybody.
Yeah, like
the end.
Yes,
Pretty
the end.
much, yeah.
It's like, or maybe this is their way of dealing with Valentine's Day. Like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to use the Goonies characters to give that card to the girl or guy that I love, and I'm going to use Cartman as my voice for the character. I don't know, but
I think that's more us than them. But.
Right? No. This is all canon now, and Mike, you're part of it. But yeah, like, okay, so. When it comes to like the writing part of this, I mean, there's no arc in this story. Like it's just Chunk wanted to give Sloth a Valentine's Day card, and that was it. It's
and
like,
so he did.
And this is it's just like an epilogue of the story a little bit, like Harry Potter a little bit. Like
I think the Disney fangirl, I think she is Chunk, and she's some chubby little. I would put her at like 7th or 8th grade, like my daughter's age, right? Going through that that horrible puberty stage, and she is totally in love with another girl, right? Because we were talking about, this is Chunk and his love for some grotesque old man. So I think this is her love for some old grotesque woman. I don't know, or just another girl, right? So another girl.
Yeah,
and so she's sitting here writing this piece, and she's gonna give it to her friend and see what she thinks, and see if she can read between the lines, and how much she wants her.
Dude, being 12 is just the worst.
It's shitty, dude. It's
it
shitty.
really is.
What's like the worst, like most cringy thing you did in middle school?
In middle school, so I basically would destroy my grandfather's Playboy collections and cut them out and create these weird sexual collages that I could then rub out later. It's very weird, but this I grew up in a Southern Baptist conservative household.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
And the way I was.
This is like
it was sinful to touch
This
myself.
is like late 80s, early 90s, or
this would have been like 92.
92. Okay.
Yeah, 93.
Holy shit, that's when I was born. All right.
Yeah, I'm older. But no, I mean it was such a weird age, dude, and trying to figure out your body, that's such a weird, gross 2 or 3 years that you go through. Yeah, and all I could think about was women. I shit you not. Like I could not stop thinking about women, and I know everyone says that, but I mean literally, I went through like this stage of I had a huge afro. People either called me Screech. I look like Screech and Kirk Cameron. I had a love child, and it was just
you have to give us a picture of that so we can put it on Twitter, please.
Yeah, I'll find it and send it to you. But it was just. It was gross, and then come 9th grade, I started learning, how to be myself, and then boom, girlfriend, and I haven't been single longer than 3 months since. So just girl, and then finally got married, and
confetti.
but the point is like that's all my mind was on. That's all it was on.
Just like. Louis C.K.'s thing about like you just rub your dick on stuff from like 9 to 12 because it's just hard all the time, just cut so deep. Except like until he, did the Me Too thing. But just that resonated so deeply with me. I'll tell my story after yours because what's your like cringiest
About puberty?
Or just like middle school. Cringiest they needed in middle school.
Yeah, middle
Oh
school.
man. Damn. Okay. I mean, I was one of those kids that was like kind of obnoxious and like annoying when I was a kid because like
When you were a kid?
when when I was a child of small stature. No, like I never. I mean, I don't know. Like it wasn't really cringy. It was just like I guess like impersonating. No, I did. I don't. Oh no! Wait, yeah. I asked out this girl in the middle of class. Like I guess like I gave her like a card and everything, and it spread everywhere that like I asked her out, and like everyone was like, dude, like you asked out. I'll protect her name. Like you asked out Kate, man. Like you asked her out. I'm like I did. Well, why is it that bad? It's like, dude, like she said no. I was like, oh.
Like everyone knew. Everyone knew she said no except you.
Yeah, everyone knew that she said no except me, and
middle school sucked.
yeah, that I was like, then that's when the impressionist side of me took hold, and it's like it's the only way I can deal with the pain anymore. But it's
Those are the same kids that like you're in the bathroom in the stall, and then someone comes in and goes, "Hey yo, someone's taking a shit," and you're like, "Duh!" Like.
no, I was a dork.
Yeah.
I still am, but like I was even more of a dork then than I was now. But it's like I had no social skills. It's like because I'm an only child, and I had never had brothers to be like, no, bro, no, like mom and dad, they don't know shit. You follow me. I never had that, so I was like going, well, I mean, I guess it's normal for kids to wear hand knitted sweaters made by their parents. I guess that's normal, but
I have an older sister, and I still turned out like that. So it's not even a thing that like you're not protected from the world just by having siblings.
Yeah.
Like it's not bulletproof, you know.
Yeah, that's the cringiest thing I did that I can remember from middle school. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Like
That's not that bad. Like your cringiest thing is just normal, basically. Like aside from maybe with the card, but like something about middle school where people make fun of you for just doing stuff. Like it's cool to not be into anything.
right.
So you're like, hey man, this dude over he's like he does things. What an asshole. I don't know if that attitude ever fully goes away from us as we get older, because there's always the thing where like someone is trying to, save the environment or like, drum up support for this cause, and like your first reaction in the lizard brain is just, oh fuck you. It's that little middle schooler inside of us, The cringiest thing I ever did in middle school was so like the thing where you hump everything. I had finally figured out how to masturbate like a week before.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, I was using my newfound superpower with impunity. And I was home alone, I thought, and my dad walked in on me, but my dad's one of those people who does the knock and immediate enter.
Yeah, the knock is meaningless.
The knock and enter. It's different if you go, you in there and you go, yeah, don't come in, I'm doing whatever. He just goes, boom, boom, enter.
Yep.
So there's no chance for you to react. It just happens.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Oh, Timmy, I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway.
That's exactly what it is. So that was a really good Timmy's dad, by the way.
Thank you. I've been working on that one.
So he comes in, my dick's in my hand. I have taken 0 improv classes, so I try to just cut the tension by saying, hey, I was just thinking about you.
Whoa.
So he turns around and leaves, as you do. And he had my stepmom drive me to my mom's house, and we did not speak for 2 weeks.
Wow.
You can't I didn't know what to do. Do I go, hey, about the stuff back there, You might not want to touch my socks for a few weeks. Do you guys know who Chad Daniels is?
I'm imagining you're like the same size, like talking. It's like, yeah, you probably don't want to touch my socks for a few weeks. It's like, why? No reason.
That's why. Do you guys know who Chad Daniels is? He's a comedian.
No.
He has he talks about his kids a lot, but he's got a bit like my son came downstairs with his laundry. And he's like, hey, I need to do some laundry. And my wife goes, set it down, I'll do it. And he goes, nope, I'll probably do it. And then my wife goes, yeah, you set it down, I'll do the laundry. I'm like, will you let him do his laundry, please?
Let him do his laundry.
Let him do his laundry.
I don't want him messing up the machine. You don't want to be touching his shit either. Just don't. You ever stub your toe in a sock? Now is not the time to start.
I think it was probably 6th or 7th grade. My mom, out of nowhere, just showed me how to do the laundry and said, you need to start doing your own clothes.
Smart.
And I think she got into some stuff and was like, okay,
I think your mom had the right idea. Do you have any siblings? Or
I have a little sister. She's 4 years younger.
Little sister. Okay, so it's not like it's I learned this with an older sibling and then figured it out.
I mean, I can just imagine what she went through and was horrified and was like, okay, that's disgusting. I'm going to show them how to do this. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same thing with my kids. My wife and I both do laundry. Mostly my wife does the laundry. Sorry, baby. It's like 90-10. But, I mean, we've talked about it many times. And, yeah, I mean, that's one thing. My daughter's already doing her own laundry. She's 12. My son will do the same thing.
It's good.
Yeah.
So, it's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember anything. Oh, I mean, I remember this one time. Oh God! Like I was at like this like weird mini party in high school. No, we're talking about middle school, right?
Either or, whatever.
High school was like my really cringy ass years.
Really?
High school.
I mean, high school is where it started to even out for me.
No.
And him, I assume.
No, dude. I was no. I remember I was dancing with this girl at the high school, and like apparently like we were making out like super hard, and I found out the next day that like she was in special ed. Like and everyone,
where the fuck is? Why have you not told this on stage?
Because I just remembered it just now, and like I never told anyone.
Write that down right now.
Everyone made fun of me for it. Like when I found out, I was like, "What?" And then my friends were. I did not have friends. I did not have many friends like in high school, because like I was like, oh, you're the fucking voice dude, and like you made out with someone from special ed, is that right? And I'm like going, oh, fuck you.
It's ableist as fuck, but it's so funny. Holy shit.
So you obviously put that in a box and locked it up, and you just opened it.
And I opened it up. Like there's a lot of boxes I have unopened. I think this is good. This
is Bad Reading Podcast, where we uncovered repressed memories.
Like I remember. Oh God, no, that's I mean, there was one. I don't know if it's cringy, but it's like I remember like I in high school too. Like I was kind of like a class. I was trying to be a class clown, but I just still wasn't really funny. Like I was still trying to. I was doing voices all the time, and I told jokes that like nobody got, but another way of saying that was I just wasn't funny. And I remember like I don't remember specifically what led to this answer that scarred me forever, that I remember to this day, but we were describing different people in the class, and the teacher said like he is like, they're not speaking about me, but they're talking, this is a person that says things that nobody gets. And then someone in the class says, you mean like how Nick tries to tell jokes, and everyone laughs, and then the teacher turns to me, she goes,
burn.
And then she goes, that really is Nick's life. It's just, like I'm fucking. Oh, thanks. All right, that's cool. I don't know if that's cringy, but that's all I remember.
That's just a sick burn on.
I know, dude.
On your classmate's part.
I know. He was funny, but we never heard from him again. No, that's all I remember. I don't remember his name. I don't remember many people from high school, but yeah, that's that.
Did you guys ever have like the school incident?
Oh, like a mountain lion walking around campus?
Sure, or like
that happened to me once.
Go ahead.
No. What incident?
No, I mean like the incident. Like, oh man, fucking someone, the popular kid drove a motorcycle off a freeway overpass, or like this kid OD'd in the school bathroom, or just something that everybody was talking about.
Oh yeah.
In the school, like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
school has an incident.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's kind of common, you know, like I don't know, like it was we never really had incidents like that, but like it's really not funny. Like I really wouldn't like, but it's one of the like yeah, one of the popular kids, like he got trapped in a cave and then he suffocated because he didn't have any oxygen, but it was the talk of the town for a long time. And
Wow.
yeah, and he was like he was just really well liked, and then yeah, totally wasn't funny, but it was sad when it happened. And God, it's like a whole generation now. Like I'm 27 now. You look back, it's like, oh yeah, I was but a small boy when it happened. But
What was your school's incident?
Honestly, like there wasn't high school for me. I was in a very small town outside of Buffalo, New York, and maybe 130 kids in my grade, and so it wasn't a lot, and there wasn't a lot going on besides our partying out in the woods and shit like that. But I mean, for me, high school, I was a pretty popular kid. I was a jock, and
What sport did you play?
I played football, I was a diver on the swim team, and then I did track and field in the spring.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was playing football all year long.
That's
too,
like
and,
all the sports.
nice.
Yeah. It was killer, dude. It was good times. But for me, I mean, I got jumped by 3 kids when I was a junior in high school.
Fuck.
Right after school, hallways are crazy, and just 3 kids jumped me, and for me, that was my incident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like,
What did they jump you for? Just
so we changed through those puberty years, right? So
Right.
when I was 6, 7, I moved to Buffalo, a small town called Alden. Moved there when I was in 6th grade, and became friends with a bunch of kids down my street, and they all turned out to be what you would call the druggies, right? And so for me, I became friends with them, and we were all like 6th grade. They weren't druggies then, but some of them are already starting to smoke and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hung out with them all through middle school, started meeting some other kids in 8th grade, going into 9th grade into high school. We all still pretty much all know each other, all going to the same school. A lot of them started getting into a lot of drinking. All they wanted to do was go out in the woods, drink, smoke weed, whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing. I loved sports. Like, that was my thing. And just found new friends. And it wasn't like, yeah, fuck you, fuck
Yeah.
you. It was just kind of just stop hanging out. And we didn't have cell phones, so there was no, like, bullying that way. But come high school, it was like, oh, you're too cool for us, that kind of thing. It was like, no, I'm just, we're
different paths.
You
or
guys don't
whatever.
do sports. I do sports. Like, it's not a big deal. And they just kept picking on me for like the next 3 years. And then when I was a junior, they jumped me out of nowhere. And it was really weird. And then they disappeared. Like, I guess they got kicked out of school. I wasn't really aware of it, but obviously parents get involved in everything. Never saw any of them again except one kid. I saw him. He was like their little leader. I saw him at a bar when I was 21, and he apologized like 30 times. Like he bought this girl I was dating, bought her and I like 3 rounds. He's like, oh, I was such an asshole, and like I think he just like went through something. Yeah. What was that TV show where what's his face had to go back through his whole?
Oh, Dickie Roberts? No, that was.
Wait, go back through what?
He had to go back. He was. What was it?
My name is Earl.
My name is Earl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great. Like he had to go back. He was like making amends. All this stupid shit he did his whole childhood. But it was like that. That's why I feel like he went through a situation where he felt like he had to fix everything.
My name is Chunk.
My name is.
Or like realistically, which kid do you think would have their own like
Their own what?
like their own kind of spin-off?
Out of the Goonies?
Yeah, or like who would be the most earliest of Earl-esque of the Goonies? Like who's like the biggest dirtbag?
The biggest dirtbag?
Yeah.
Well, that would have been. See, I'm like the biggest fan. I can't think of his name. The bully guy. I mean, the one who was dating Andy, or thought he was dating Andy, and Bren was the one who ends up winning her heart at the end. He was a side character.
Yeah. But I don't know. My name is Chunk. Seems like a fun name.
My name is Chunk.
That'd be fun. Yeah, it's like
He's
my
probably
family-
the most successful.
Chunk, yeah.
Yeah, like in reality.
Oh, like the actor.
He's an entertainment lawyer. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
he
man.
went to Berkeley, and they were talking about doing a Goonies 2, kind of like a reunion movie
Yeah.
and stuff.
Huh.
And he turned it down. He's not even interested, but
I
he represents a lot of big actors and stuff like that. And he's
I can imagine
money.
that would be hard to like explain to people,
Yeah,
right? Where you're like, "Hey, weren't you in Goonies 2?" And you're like handling my, legal case right
Yeah.
now.
well, I mean, the understanding part would
Yeah.
be he's representing actors and whatnot. He's an entertainment lawyer, so he's representing a lot of people in the entertainment business. So I think they would understand. But I mean, dude, if you look at him, I mean, the dude's ripped. I mean, he's got abs. I mean,
Gee, I wonder
Yeah.
why.
yeah. But I honestly, like, I think I think Mouth would have had the best, like, sideshow, like, spinoff show from the Goonies. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was just hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Or like if you had the Goonies kids meet the Stranger Things kids,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be a fun little like shitty little crossover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, oh gosh. Speaking of
That's another archetype of fan fiction that I forgot to tell you off mic. The shitty crossover. Of
People
two
cross universes?
Yeah, like we had an episode a few back where it was Mario ends up in Hyrule, so Legend of Zelda. So it's just like Mario Zelda crossovers or whatever.
It was a pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. No, it's just like the writer who wrote that was like he was aware that it's like I'm just dicking around, so I'm just gonna make it dumb. Like it was almost like a Family Guy episode a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Am I remembering correctly? Am I remembering correctly?
Speaking of Family Guy episode, this is the whole thing. This is all I could think of during the story of this episode. Peter going, "There's no conflict in this movie."
Yeah, like like
I love you, Chunk.
I love you, Slot. I love you, Slot. There's no conflict in this movie.
He's better at it than I am.
No.
I feel like I have to go write a fan piece now.
I mean,
If you want to bring it on the podcast,
if
like,
I just feel like let's revisit this like in 6 months or something. I feel
yeah.
like I'm kind of like, what were you thinking, lady? Like whoever wrote this. Right?
I mean, it's
Apparently-
called bad reading for a reason.
apparently
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
much. They weren't thinking much.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe I can make one that's bad. That's
Maybe.
worse.
How would you punch the thing up itself?
I'm all about details, man. Just going in the details and honestly, like you got to talk about Mouth. I think he's probably like one of the best characters in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because Mouth was like the biggest dick to Chunk. I mean, he was an asshole to everyone in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, why are we friends with you, dude? Because all he ever does is like badmouth people, right? And I think she should have put him in there as more
A foil or
yeah,
whatever.
a foil. Like he's the one that Chunk doesn't want to run into, in the store. So why
Yeah.
not add him? I think it would have definitely like made this a lot better.
Yeah, and then
think
where are the girls like in this? Like where's that?
Well,
what
Andy's
more
in there
characters?
because he said that. Yeah.
Oh right, Andy. Okay.
Yeah, because Brand's kissing Andy.
And they
Okay.
just like approve of it. I don't know, just like. Also, for the love of God, consult your MLA handbook. Like, the grammar in here made me want to shoot myself.
Yes. Yeah, like
That has nothing to do with the story, but just, oh my God.
he thought to himself out loud in his cheerful, motivational voice. That's an odd description.
Yeah.
Like Chunk has never had a motivational voice.
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't know. This like just speak. I think some people like I've learned this with writing that like just talk. Like that's writing, and then you get better at it when you start realizing, oh, okay, then you add like things like conflict in it, and then
Yeah.
now we're in
Yeah.
it now. But like if you,
But voice is important, for sure.
yes, voice is important, and when I first started doing comedy, like I just did impressions the whole time, and again I do that sometimes in my act, but like I've learned like you can tell jokes and do the voices, and that's what really people want. Because then, like, if you're just an impressionist guy, people are gonna think you're insane, like you're like that annoying comedian that's just gonna do that the entire time. People I don't know. It's like that where it's like, I'm gonna start talking about kissing a girl from special ed now, and I can add a voice to that later because now we have something to latch onto. But this is like they're trying too hard to sound smart, like by adding these adjectives to these characters, but you don't need that much. Just talk, and that's the best advice I can give. So, but I'm sure this was a first draft. And this second...
First and last,
maybe?
Is it possible to have a half of a draft? Like this is a 0.5 draft or something?
It's called a dra.
A dra. Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, looks like are we about out of time?
I think we're about out of time. Thank you very much.
Just we want to thank you, man, for coming on the podcast. And so people can follow you and your comedy wherever you're at. Where is the best place to reach you?
Yeah. So my handles are pretty simple across social media. Such a Kidder. So such.a.kidder, or it can just be Such a Kidder. You can look me up anyway like that. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Or you can go to my website, www.suchakidder.com.
We'll put the links in the doobly-doo.
Doobly-doo.
All right, yeah. And you can reach me at Nick Doobly-Doo. No, I'm just kidding. I am Millennial Comic on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active.
And then you can find me personally at Atlas Novak on Twitter or Instagram. And then you can find this podcast at Bad Reading Pod, also on Twitter or Instagram. Or you can find our channel on YouTube where we have a video of this entire podcast, so you can see us, doing it live or whatever. And it was filmed and recorded here at Third Wheel Studios in Los Angeles, California.
Woo!
So, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. This hurts me.
Do you want to try that again?
Don't forget to review, rate, comment, subscribe, all the other stuff you do when you like a show, because it helps the show be more visible.
You might edit that out. Like edit out all
No. I want them to hear it all in its awkward glory, because this is...
You gotta say like a YouTuber. It's like, hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video, destroying my phone. Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe, baby. See you next time.
Fucking aneurysm.
And that's it.